Today marks Nigeria's Independence Day, a time of national pride and celebration. With all Nigerians, of course, the market closed in Nigerian, of course, in observance of the independence. Thank you for choosing to spend a part of your day with us. Well, let's start on the energy front. Seplat Energy, an indigenous company listed on both the Lagos and London stock exchanges, says the integration of new assets that were recently acquired is a learning curve in terms of culture, efficiency, and operational performance. While the Chief Executive Officer of Seplat, Roger Brown, speaks to Rise business correspondent Bosin Omofaye earlier today in Cape Town in a fireside chat that focused on recent acquisitions, strategy, financing, partnerships, and the evolving regulatory landscape in the oil and gas sector. Let's take a listen now.
What the philosophy was behind how you decide what assets to pick and what value are inherent in those assets when you acquire them.
I guess the first one to start off with is strategic fit for us as a business. You know, does it fit within our ethos, what we're looking after, what we're looking at? Do we have the skills? Do we have the technical skills? I'll give you an example. We are, as a company, onshore Niger Delta and in the shallow water offshore. We don't have a lot of experience in deep water exploration, you know, for instance. So the strategic fit. Then also, what are you buying? You know, and importantly, what are you paying for it and what returns you can get out of it? So, you know, are you paying up for producing assets with little upside? Or are you looking at assets where you can work? And this is one of the successes of Seplat, is where we convert contingent resources into reserves and produce them.
So talk to me about how you were able to integrate new assets into the trajectory, the path that you already have at Seplat, ensure that everything stays on course.
Our last two acquisitions have been corporate acquisitions. And corporate acquisitions means a living, breathing company with assets, liabilities, a track record, and very importantly, people, which means culture. And that is one of the first things we look at in any corporate acquisition is, do the cultures fit? Now, if you look at our latest acquisition, which is the Exxon Mobil MPN shallow water, Seplat 550 people, MPN brought 850 people. So bigger, more assets and everything else, a different culture. So a US company culture, but I would say what was good about MPN was that they ran it very locally. Okay, so we had 850 very talented, very experienced Nigerians. And therefore, when you combine the two together, do the cultures fit? And we've been spending this year really looking at how we put it together and how we then have success well into the future. It's not something you want to rush. The 2020 acquisition we made were 100 people. We learned a lot from that with the Eland acquisition. Now this is much bigger, it's more complex. But we're excited, and I think there's an enthusiasm because Seplat's strategy, I think, is very clear. It's very clear in what we're trying to do as an indigenous company and really operate as, you know, first world, the best in the world operations based in Nigeria.
Give me, in my audience, a sense of how you were able to work through both local and international partnerships to deliver the size of funding that you need to make those acquisitions over the recent years.
Local financing is very critical to what we do because the financiers understand the terrain we're in. And so Seplat's always combined both. When we look at financing, we don't look at one type of financing. So we're not sort of company that only looks at reserve-based lending or acquisition financing. We look at banks and all different types of banks, from local banks, commercial banks, international development banks, and everything else. But then also we have a Eurobond, which is our third Eurobond, which we completed earlier this year. And in that Eurobond, which I'm pleased to say, through the evolution of that Eurobond, we're now rated higher than the sovereign. So we've managed to pierce the sovereign ceiling as a quality company that Seplat is. And then also we have equity. So it's a blending of all the different types of capital we have, from equity to debt to Eurobonds, etc. And it's ensuring that they all interact well with each other. And our strategy as a company is, look, Nigeria, there's always going to be a bump in the road. That's just the reality of life. What we try to do with our providers of capital is warn them as much as we can, tell them about the bumps in the road if we can in advance, and then tell them how we're managing it.
How do you manage those different types of partnerships to ensure that your operational management, whatever, stay together on course? Because you're managing a lot of folks in the room.
We have a lot of experience. Like, a lot of our team have come out of banks, other financing houses. We have a lot of coordination, so we take our time. We like to, give you an example. We put up 2 weeks ago a Capital Markets Day. We did a full presentation to 2030, and one of the reasons beyond giving the equity holders, the future is actually your providers of capital to really see how Seplat's going to set its stall out for the next 5 years. Now that process started in May time, and it was done in September. So we spent a lot of time trying to capture our business in a very understandable and very clear way. And that helps with the coordination. So when people are coordinated, they see what your strategy is, they see where you're going as a company, it's clear, then you can get everyone aligned.
As far as some of the assets and partners you're working with, and I know the floating LNG is one of them, so how soon are you making some announcements in terms of sealing that off?
We've got, Seplat Onshore is very clear on its gas strategy. Okay, we have 3 gas plants. We're one of the biggest suppliers of gas domestically, and a lot of that gas goes into the power sector. We've acquired Mobile Producing, and there wasn't really a gas strategy, but we got 10 TCF of gas. It's massive. I mean, if you put that in context, people in the room operating in different countries, 10 TCF of gas is a really massive amount of gas. Should be able to support a BCF a day. So what we've done now is looked at all the various projects, whether it be supplying onshore LNG projects, domestic gas projects into Akwa Ibom State, and then obviously one of our assets, Yoho, is stranded. There's no connections into the pipeline system, and it's primed for floating LNG. So UTM are developing a floating LNG project, and we're getting close to agreeing some commercial terms on that.
How soon is that?
Very close.
Talk to me about the regulatory environment and how you manage it to hold on tenaciously. And each time you report on the market, and as a journalist, and I see that line there, that, we're still on course for this acquisition, we're going to report on it, and you hold on and on and on until it was eventually approved by the Nigerian government.
Well, what the President Tinubu's been doing through, as he's the Minister of Petroleum, is really creating an enabling environment. So where maybe previously there were blockages, everywhere, Nigeria is really going, look, the doors are open, let's create an enabling environment for oil and gas sector. Let's look at the National Oil Company and NPC, our partner, in all these blocks. How can we do it? How can we move it forward? The GCO of NNPC has a monthly meeting within the industry. If you look at the regulatory side of things, PIA, those are presidential directives, are all enabling on how do we make it easier? When I look at the NUPRC, which approved our transaction, whilst we took a long time to get to the green light to go ahead, I think that process with the regulator was pretty efficient. It started in September. It was largely done by end of October, November. So it was pretty quick and a thorough process. So it's much more transparent. And that's critical, right? So we all know governments and regulators have to go through process. It's very important. But it's very important to also very clear what that process is. Put it on the website, clearly follow it, and be consistently apply it across all acquisitions. Now, Nigeria at the end of last year approved 5 deals. Over the course of last year, that is massive, right? So you think that, if you look at how many billions of dollars, how many billions of barrels were approved, that was a big process to get over the line. And I think that's why today there's a lot more interest in Nigeria.
My exit a question is your thoughts on the path and the trajectory for African independence, and we've seen a whole lot of indigenous energy companies, whether it's in Nigeria, in Angola, and elsewhere, making a lot of inroads into the waters or the territories where the IOCs are stepping aside, and you folks are picking them up. What else would you like to see happen in that space moving forward?
In my banking days back in 2010, we projected that there has to be an emergence of independence in Africa. It's taken time, but now we have it, and particularly in Nigeria and elsewhere. So that criticality is you need 10, 15, 20 Seplats, right? Yeah. Because what that will then do is, from an international perspective, it'll be a very attractive. Oh, we're running over, but it's very attractive. So we need more.